What's going on, everybody? It's JetsCentral coming back with another video, and the New York Jets made some headlines yesterday by signing undrafted rookie free agent Brandon Bryant, former free safety of the Mississippi State Bulldogs. Now, I gotta be honest with you guys, this was a guy who I did not know much about, right? Throughout the draft process, throughout his tenure at Mississippi State, I did not know much about this guy, okay? I just did not know what he brought to the table as far as talent, hustle, his skill set, his overall skill set. I didn't know much about him. So I actually spent a pretty good portion of last night watching his tape, watching his game film, to try to formulate an idea or a good understanding of how this guy plays, what I like, what I don't like, and how I think he'll fit with the New York Jets. Now, before I kind of get into my thoughts on Bryant and if I like the pickup, I want to talk about how the Jets were able to acquire this guy, because it's kind of confusing. So the NFL supplemental draft was held yesterday at 1 p.m. And I actually think the NFL and really the big media, the sports media outlets, they do a really poor job of explaining what the supplemental draft really is. I was actually talking to a few of my buddies yesterday on the phone after the draft kind of concluded, and we were talking about it, and all diehard football fans, and they were all confused on how this thing is. Like, when is it? What is it? How does it work? Like, what's going on here? It's just one big confusing mess. And it seems really hard to gather all the details, and you really have to dig deep on the internet to find out all the little intricacies of how the supplemental draft works, because it's really confusing. But anyway, a quick synopsis, and to be honest with you, I don't even know all the ins and outs of it either, but a quick synopsis of it, just a real quick outlook on how the supplemental draft works, or at least of what I know, is that it's players in college thought they were going to play in college football, right, next season. They thought they were good to go, but for whatever reason, those players got ruled ineligible to play, whether that was, getting in trouble, whether that was getting poor grades, whatever the case may be. Those players are now ruled ineligible. So instead of waiting a whole season and then applying for the NFL draft the following year, they can apply for the supplemental draft kind of right after the NFL draft. So it's kind of weird how it works, but basically that's the idea. College players going to the pros. But instead of the NFL teams having just normal draft picks like the normal NFL draft, they have to, if they want to pick a player, it's like a bidding process. So they pick the player. If the team wins the bid, say, for example, like the Giants, right? The Giants got cornerback Sam Beal from Western Michigan yesterday, the top guy in the supplemental draft. So what happened was they won the bid with a third-round pick. So the deal is that the Giants now have to forfeit next year's third-round pick, but they also get the rights to Sam Beal. So that's kind of the idea on how the supplemental draft works. So in this case, with the New York Jets, Bryant went undrafted in the supplemental draft. So the Jets were able to sign this guy without having to forfeit a 2019 draft pick, which is phenomenal. That's great. That's great news. Because the stuff that I was kind of reading on Bryant last night was that this guy was if you were to enter the NFL draft this past season, and get picked this past April, he would have been kind of a 5th to 6th round pick, which is great. That's great. That's great value for how the Jets were able to obtain this guy. So my thoughts on Bryant is that he's a free safety, but for some reason he kind of stood out to me like a strong safety, in the sense that I think he does really well close to the line of scrimmage, being able to wrap up an open field. I really like that trait about him, and it's kind of funny. It was funny. I was watching the second tape on him, and even though this guy plays free safety, it seems like he was coached really well for that position, but his instincts tell him to be a strong safety, right? Playing up close to the line of scrimmage, being able to wrap up like I alluded to before, and just having a great understanding of depth, speed, getting to sideline pretty quickly. But overall, he was coached as a free safety. I think he's more of a strong safety, to be honest, but that's just my initial thoughts on watching some of his stuff last night. But overall, I like the move. There's nothing really I can complain about. But I will say, With the safety position and really the secondary as a whole is pretty filled up right now for the New York Jets. So if this guy wants to crack the lineup, get in the games, and make some plays, he's going to have to work his way up through the depth chart. You know, right at the top, we got Jamal Adams and Marcus May. We also got Doug Middleton in there. We got Rontez Miles, but he is hurt. So that kind of works in the favor for Bryant as of right now. And we can't forget about J.J. Wilcox, the safety that we brought in from I forget where he played last season, but I know he spent some time with Pittsburgh, Tampa, and Dallas. Dallas is kind of where I remember him from, just being a hard hitter and whatnot. But anyway, Bryant is going to have to work his way up the depth chart, but from being on Twitter, being on social media, a lot of the guys kind of higher up in the process say that Bryant will make an immediate impact on special teams, which is good. You know, that's good. You can always use help on special teams, especially last year for the Jets, where I felt like our special team is kind of in limbo for a few of the games last season. Like we just got caught off guard, a little confused here and there, and gave up some big plays every now and again. So I like the move. Again, I can't really complain about anything. He does seem to, he's really athletic. He's really fast. I believe he ran a 4.5 at his pro day. And I like that. I dig that. It's always good to get athleticism and speed in the secondary of the defense. It doesn't really matter what position. Nickel, corner, strong, free safety. It doesn't really matter. If you got fast guys on this defense, it just makes everybody on offense's job harder. So I like the move, and it's going to be interesting to see how this guy does, really missing rookie minicamp and the beginnings of the Jets OTAs and stuff. So he's going to have to kickstart his learning curve, his learning jump, and go from there. So I'll leave it at that. Let me know down in the comment section if you guys like this move, and if there's any Mississippi State fans out there, let me know down in the comment section how you guys like Bryant. Okay, I actually spoke to a Mississippi State fan last night, and just to ask him about it, his thoughts on Bryant, and he said that he had a really, really good freshman season, but he was never able to live up to the hype his sophomore and junior season, or like the remaining seasons at Mississippi State. So he had a fantastic freshman year, but it just didn't really work out as the years went by. So again, let me know down in the comment section. And with that being said, thanks so much, and go Jets.